Hi, this is Mrs. Roberts, and welcome to Psychology today. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you carved out some time to work on this subject. I am going to take you through the layout for what we're going to be doing today. First, I want to talk a little bit about the interface in Canvas. So I've started here in the student view. First of all, I want to make sure that you do pay attention to this to-do tab. This to-do tab will tell you in the course that you're in what exactly you have that's outstanding. If you notice that you still have on your to-do list 1.1, what is trauma, there could be some trouble navigating the rest of the day. So here's what I mean by that. When you look on Canvas and you see these green checks, you are looking to see that you have a green check all the way down to the day that you are actually going to be working. So you'll notice here at this student view, I've reset it so that you can't see any of them, right? So you don't see any green checks. So that means that whenever I come down here to try to watch something, it's going to give me a message and it's going to say, you have to complete all of the items. That's how I've set it up in the trauma inquiry. So all that means is you need to make sure you've got green checks. So this is very simple to make sure you've got green checks. It is just the process of going to it, looking at it, and then clicking next, right? So it's not very difficult. And I've set it up this way so that you would go about it, especially if you're doing this all at home, kind of on your own time, and you're not coming to class and to the Zoom meetings. I wanted you to go in a particular order. So I just wanted to make sure that you didn't get lost anywhere and that you were able to navigate this kind of easily. You'll notice that this is the submission from last class. It loads in a new window. So anytime you click on something here in Canvas, it'll ask you, it'll tell you basically where it's going to open. So this is where you're going to open in a new window, type that in and submit if you haven't done that already. So to start the day today, which is September the 3rd or September the 4th, those are A and B days, we will be briefly meeting in Zoom. Obviously, that's what's happening. And we are trying to explain how your body processes a threat. We are in this big inquiry about trauma, about like difficult events, what's happening internally. That's what our goal is to understand today. We're going to focus on two parts, the brain and the nervous system. Those two things are connected. And I want you to understand what gets turned on in your brain that then activates your nervous system when you're experiencing something threatening. That's the goal for today. So we are going to do that in a couple of ways. You'll see that just like normal, we are going to read and watch material, and then we are going to do a submission. How does my body respond? So sorry about the typo there. All right, so today is a little bit different, and here's our first video. So today's a little bit different in that I don't know where you're coming to me from. I don't know where you're coming to me from in your abilities and your knowledge in the content of biology or anatomy. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you two pathways. If you don't know very much about biology or just don't feel very comfortable with human biology, I wanted to make sure that you were able to get the material that you needed to get in a more simplified way. So for each page, and remember the way that we label our pages is 1 means the module number. This is our first inquiry. 2 is the day we're on. So this is the second day of the inquiry. And then the letters are just describing these pages that you see in front of you. So that way, whenever you're going about trying to get answers, you'll be able to know which screen to go to, which page, I should say. So if you're looking for a simple explanation, that'll always appear first. If you are more well-versed and you need a more complex description of what's happening, then that's going to appear at the bottom. You don't need to watch both videos. Please just watch one. Then when we click next, the second page is also that way. So the second page is all about your nervous system, right? So this is your nervous system. So if you want a very simple explanation, that's this first video. If you want a more complex explanation, that's the second video. If you don't like either of those things and you would rather just read about this in your textbook, I've also created a choice. Would you like to work at your own pace? Are you a good reader? Please click here to use the textbook. This is just a copy of chapter 6 of our textbook. The only thing you need to read about is section 1, or read in. The only thing you need to read is section 1. Okay, moving forward. Now, the last page is something that everyone's going to hear from, everyone's going to complete. You're going to hear from a therapist. So I like for you to hear firsthand from people who are in the psychology profession. You might have gotten into this course because you are interested in possibly practicing psychology, maybe being a therapist, maybe just using psychology because you want to be a sales manager and you want to understand people more. Either way, I'm going to give you lots of material throughout the school year that is going to connect you with somebody who is practicing psychology. So that's what this video is. It's a therapist who's explaining what's happening internally when you're in the freeze response. So the fight, flight, or freeze. And that's a very common traumatic reaction. And then she goes through some ideas and, advice on how to possibly escape that freeze response. So those are our 3 pages of material that we're going to be doing and doing today, or clicking through today. And then our last page is always our submission. So today is, how does the body respond to a threat? Type out an explanation of what happens in the A, brain, and the B, nervous system when you encounter a threat, such as a car speeding toward you, a hot drink headed your way, any threatening environment that you can think of. When you're in a Zoom and you are seeing a teacher that is enraged you before. So what is that moment? What's happening internally? What's happening in your brain? What's happening in your nervous system? So you do have to load this in a new window. When you click here, you'll notice that it'll say log in if you haven't yet linked your Google account. We've talked about this multiple times. So you do need to know, you scroll down, you'll see on my page, I have to scroll down just a little bit, and it's a little hidden here, but there's a green button that says authorize in that bottom left corner. If you haven't done that, then you do need to do that. If you have any trouble whatsoever, I need you to make sure that you use the inbox to connect with me. Ask me a question on how to access material if you're having any sort of trouble. And that's it. I hope that you have a lovely day. I'm glad that you came to psychology class. I am glad that you are going to be learning more about what's happening inside whenever you are experiencing something threatening. All right, have a great day.